Welcome to the Depressy podcast.
I'm Missy.
And I'm Allie.
And we're sisters
in the mental health field,
talking about all things stressy
and depressy.
Okay, before we jump in, we should do our disclaimer.
Disclaimer. Don't trust us. Don't take this as medical advice, professional advice, yada, yada, yada.
Yes.
Okay?
Seek out a mental health professional or a doctor if you need any specific guidance in that realm. We're just talking about us.
Talking about us and our journeys and what we've learned, but before you apply that to you, don't.
That's not what this is for, friends. So you can do that at your own risk, basically.
At your own risk.
Yes. So today, Allie, our topic is really going to be focusing on you in medical school.
Whoa.
And specifically how you do it all with ADHD.
That is a big topic to unpack because you've always been very type A, very organized, very on top of your shit,
I think if the people have been following us for the past 2 episodes, they probably can tell.
Can you tell who's the type A sister? Who's the type B sister?
I'm that older sister. Like, this may be extremely niche to me because I am an older sister who's type A, but I get all of my like reels, and I'm not a TikTok girly. I'm more of like an Instagram reels, which is already
a TikTok girly.
Already a personality test. But like so many of them are about being a firstborn older sister who's super type A and needs to control everything. I am that girly, and you probably already know that by now if you have been watching us or listening to us.
I am going to start this off by saying that I feel like everyone around me has a plan for every second of their life, including you. You have a plan for like, okay, tonight we're going to get home. It's probably going to be around 8. We're going to get home. So that means I have to walk the dog. Jacob will have to unload the dishwasher. Like, her mental executive functioning is so high such that her life falls in line to plan.
Yeah.
I don't think about that.
Well, so I want to get to how that kind of impacts you in med school. But first, I feel like we should back up and talk about what it was like for you to get a diagnosis of ADHD and also just like how your symptoms present.
Yeah, I feel like if we go all the way back, like I was a different baby than Missy was. Missy could like speak and talk and say her letters at like 0. No, actually, like before she was 1 or something.
No, not before I was 1.
When was it?
I think I was 1 doing
those things. And my parents were like, oh, we're just like amazing parents. And then they had me, and I was like on a different timeline. I had speech delays. I had a lot of trouble learning to read. And I think it was 2nd grade that mom took me to like this psychological testing or whatever.
Yeah. Probably a neuropsychologist.
I had no idea what was going on. I was like, I didn't know why they were asking me these questions. I had to do this whole thing. And it came back like probably ADHD. I'm not sure it was like a slam dunk. I also think that the criteria has changed.
Things have probably
in our
evolved
lifetime.
In time. Yeah.
It was very much like you had to show like hyperactivity as well. Like when I was a kid, and I was really only scoring on the attention deficit part.
Right. So with ADHD, there's 2 components to it. And now there's different kind of subtypes that you can be viewed as having. So there is what I think is the more traditional thought of the hyperactivity piece, where you think about kids who are bouncing off the walls or people who can't sit still. And that can absolutely be a part of ADHD for many people.
And I've seen it. When people say bouncing off the walls, I used to think that was a figure of speech. And then I've seen these children with like ADHD.
Who really
now in my medical school, they're bouncing off the walls. Like if they're in a room that's small enough, they actually will bounce off the walls.
Then there is another subtype, and for some people they have both of these things, but there is also a presentation of being inattentive. And so this is those people who just really have a hard time focusing. And I mean, you can chime in if like
I feel like a different kid than you were. I felt like I was always smart and my parents like knew my potential, but I was not doing well in school, which was like shock to the system for like everyone because we were so like academically focused in my family that the fact that like I wasn't, like, doing my homework well. I mean, of course, I was so little, but I was in, like, a lower reading group. I
Yeah.
was not succeeding in school. They were like, "What is going on with her?" It turns out it's, like, a mix of ADHD and dyslexia, so I needed a little extra support. I'm not sure I really, like, besides, like, going to tutoring, like, really thinking back, I didn't get, like, a ton of support, just, like, extra. I went to,
Yeah.
like, tutoring and stuff. I think because I was so well behaved in all of this, I wasn't causing any, like, issues in the classroom, like, teachers I was still a pleasure to have in class. I wasn't, like I was just spacing out, not paying attention.
Yeah.
I just needed, like, extra help to actually learn. I was going to, like, a reading tutor and, like, a math tutor and stuff, and, like, I needed someone to, like, really be on top of me to do my homework.
Well, it's interesting because it teases apart, right? There's kids who have different learning challenges, which you also have dyslexia, so that's a part of that for you. But there for you it wasn't an issue of like for the most part being able to understand the material. It was actually having the time and space and structure that allowed you to grasp the material.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think there was, like, a lot of points in school where I felt like I just like, I was in gifted and talented, like, because I was, like, scoring well on these, like, standardized, like, state exams that we
Yeah.
had, but, like, my actual grades were not always the best because truly I was, like, not effective at, like, studying.
Right. Or even just sitting in class,
Just sitting in class, like, finishing my work, like,
absorbing the
absorbing the
material that
material.
way.
Even, like, I feel like there were a lot of times where I just couldn't finish things in class, like, half and half because of dyslexia. I was such a slow reader and slow to, like, comprehend the information, like,
Yeah.
that part, like, I could do the math problem, but taking it from, like, the word problem, for example, like, it would take me so long to, like, piece apart what was going
Yeah.
on. So it was like the actual doing of the task was difficult, even if I, like, grasped the concept of, like, how to add and multiply and all of that.
Yeah, yeah, and so I feel like and you tell me, but to me, I feel like you doing tutoring, it just allowed you a structure that worked a little bit better than just sitting in a boring classroom, hearing the teacher
Yeah.
talk about something to 30 children. It's just something different. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't what was your experience like?
No, I totally agree. I think I always did better in small group settings, and one-on-one, it was, like, the ultimate small group setting where, like, I thrived. Even in when I'm thinking about my gifted and talented, that was always a very small group of people. I felt like I, like, thrived in that
Yeah.
environment. Like, I just needed a little more attention. I would say once I got to, like, 6th grade, I was, like, having the top grades, like, in the classroom. Like, I became more academically able to, without, like, tutoring and all of that, like,
Yeah.
handle it on my own, but I still was, like, the girl with, like I would lose homework because I'm just, like, putting loose sheets of paper in my backpack, whereas Missy has, like, color organized, everything, like
Which is its own issue that needed to get unpacked.
no, like, I was
Yeah.
never, like I was never, like, the model student, but I felt like I could make up for that with just or just, like, I don't know. It's not like I was so smart, but I felt like
You
I had enough, like, raw talent to, like, make up for that.
I also wonder because I see this now, like clinically working with kids and teens and even adults who, like you, navigated ADHD or executive functioning challenges like that, where especially in girls and women who have this inattentive presentation only. So they're not really very hyperactive. They're not viewed as a bad kid. They're not getting in trouble. They're just like struggling to pay attention in school, but they have this drive to like please people and do well. They can really find ways to like mask their symptoms and sort of like find a system like one way or another to like get the good grades, but it's going to take them more time or it's going to come at greater cost sometimes. I'm curious if you relate to
Yeah.
that at all.
I don't know. I think it was just always, like, honestly an expectation in our family that you get, like, straight A's.
Totally,
And
but
so I was gonna meet that expectation. So I probably had to like work harder to I don't know though. I'm like very unsure because I remember high school as like not being that hard. So
okay.
I'm not sure like where this all comes in. I feel that I had built enough strategies by the time I got to high school of like how
Mm,
I was going to get things done. I was not going to be the kid, at least in high school, who was like studying a little bit every day,
right,
like,
right.
but I became really good at like knowing how to cram. That's probably not like a
No,
technique.
but that's interesting. That's kind of what I mean, though, that you, like, one way or another, got yourself to a place where, yes, you could do well on this test, but cramming is obviously a lot harder and more taxing than a
Yeah.
kid who's just like, "Yeah, every day for 30 minutes, I just, like, spend some time reviewing this thing, and then I'm ready for the
I
test."
think where my ADHD where, like, I really struggled was when I also was going through depression and anxiety, which probably
Mm,
was wrapped up in, like, untreated ADHD as well. But when that happened, it was very hard to compensate because I
interesting.
no longer had, like, the mental energy to, like, study, like, all night then. Well, not all night, but, like, to
Yeah.
cram. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't have that energy, so that was, like I remember the end of my sophomore year, I got back into tutoring, and truly it was just, like, sit down, do your work. It made me, like, space out my work a little bit more because I had it, like, once a week, and then obviously that's when I got on medication as well for my
Mm,
ADHD, and that definitely, like, took was, like, such a weight off of my shoulders.
interesting.
I mean, both once my, like, anxiety and depression, like, I would say I had and had, like, a good amount of anxiety, but once that was more treated, I could compensate more for the ADHD, and then also once I got on ADHD medication, I was less anxious
Interesting.
because I wasn't procrastinating as much. I was able to get more work done, focus more, so some of the things that were stressing me out of, like, being behind, not being able to, like, tackle big tasks, worried about my grades, like, I didn't have that as much, and so it those things coupled together, like treating my anxiety, treating my ADHD, like went hand in hand to making it
Yeah.
easier for me to succeed. And during that time, I took tests in a like solo environment, like for
Yeah.
like maybe like 2 months.
So you got
I
accommodations
got
to do that.
accommodations. I don't know how helpful it was, but I do think it was just like I just needed like a reset. And it
Yeah.
like I needed to like have like a brain shift a little bit. So like I think that was good, just, like, a new environment to test it in, like, that wasn't
Yeah.
associated with my anxiety, it was, like, better for me.
Totally. So then fast forward to, I guess we could talk about college. You want to talk about college?
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I got into college, I feel like grades were never they were a source of stress in the sense that I was expected to, like, get straight A's, but I pretty much did
In high
in
school.
high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was, like, 1 class, I think, that I didn't, and that was, like stressful,
Yeah.
but that was the stress that I didn't get, like, 1A. It wasn't like, "Oh my gosh, I'm failing out my
Yeah.
classes."
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, stress that I wanted to be, like, scoring very high, but to some sense, like, with the help of, like, my, like oh, you know what I didn't mention? I had a therapist in high school.
Yes.
I
Yes.
forgot about that.
Yeah.
Truly, I think
Shout
changed
out.
my development as a human, just having a space to, like, unload the things that and work through some of my anxieties.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a chaotic time that I think if I didn't have that space and didn't have an adult that I trusted to like help me navigate things, I don't like it would I do think it would be a different outcome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that for you too.
Yeah.
I really do.
She was great. Like to this day the best therapist that I've had. Like she Yeah. This is like a side note, but I remember thinking like therapy's great, like and then other people would talk about like, "Oh, I don't know, it's not really working." And then I like went to a different therapist when I was in college then, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wait, we're not clicking. We're not vibing the same way." Like it is so important, that relationship that you actually have,
Yeah.
and I feel like I just got very lucky in high school to have a therapist who, like, was so supportive and just helped me honestly build a little bit of executive functioning by building self-awareness. Does that make like, you
Mm.
have to be, like, self-aware a little bit to
I feel like
have executive functioning.
we should back up because we've been using this term a lot, executive functioning, and we've kind of touched on the definition, but I do feel like it's worth telling our listeners what it means.
That's true. I don't honestly, you might have a better definition. The way I think about it for myself is the ability to, like, execute plans to achieve your goals.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good definition. And I also, disclaimer, I don't primarily study or work with populations of people who have ADHD. So this people who do more of this work may even have a better idea than I do. How I think about executive functioning, yeah, is really being able to like structure, plan ahead, problem solve, like think through, but not just sort of like in the moment, like a crisis situation, but in a long term, like way, be able to problem solve and structure
It's
things.
interesting because I feel like I can do those things. Like, if I sit down, like, I can create, like, a plan. It's the
Yeah.
sticking to it. And to me, it's almost like
Mm,
executive functioning is, like, coupled with willpower.
interesting.
Like, do you know the marshmallow test?
Yes.
Where they for our viewers who don't know, they, like I don't know the, like, whole, like, thing, but they had, like, kids sit with, like, a marshmallow in front of them, and they said, "Oh, if you don't eat the marshmallow and wait, you can get 2 marshmallows."
Yes. And then the adult left the room, but the kid was being filmed the whole time.
Yeah, and so some of the kids ate the marshmallow, didn't get the second one, and some of them had amazing willpower or ability to, like, think towards future goals of getting 2, and they waited to get the second one. I know for a fact I would have eaten the marshmallow right away,
I,
and I still would.
yeah.
I still would. I eat my
Yeah.
food if it's too hot, like, I'm eating it anyway, I'm burning my tongue. Like, I have such
Yeah.
low ability to work towards future goals.
But you know what? Okay, here I'm curious what you actually think about this because when I have worked with patients who have ADHD, I most especially when I work with adult patients with ADHD, I'm kind of thinking about it in this way where I help them set up a system that is actually realistic for their life to work
Mhm.
towards certain things. And I think that what can be challenging about having ADHD is there is this idea many people come in and they believe other people just have more willpower than I do. Other people just have more self control, and I'm just doomed because I don't have
I do feel
this
like other
power.
people have more self-control.
But here's the thing, and that may be partially true, but I think that people who don't have ADHD or people who have really good executive functioning, the world is set up for their systems to work well. Like when I am
Mhm.
going about my day and I'm executing on my different plans, honestly, I truly don't feel like I am working some really intense like willpower muscle to do that.
Interesting.
Like this is a bit of a tangent, but I like to exercise and I sort of have like a schedule in my week for when I like to do that. And I've had people tell me like, "Wow, that takes so much willpower." And I'm like, if it took willpower, this much willpower, I would not be doing it. Like there's actually research on how willpower is a finite resource. If you are using
Yes.
it to that level, you will crumble and snap back.
So why do you feel like you're able to execute your plans more?
I do think I have good executive functioning, but I think that like the way that I schedule my time, the pace that I have to work, right? It also goes back to like the way that you learned best was not the way that like a classroom learned best, right? Like the pace that I schedule my life aligns with like how most other people want to be scheduling things out, right? The expectation that I'm putting on myself, like I'm able to be like, okay, I'm not going to shoot for like the stars because and this happens with a lot of people with ADHD that they'll be like, "Oh my god, I'm so behind. I have to do like these 12 things tomorrow, so I'll make a schedule for it." And then of course they're
Yes.
not going to stick to their
Okay,
schedule of
that's
12 things.
interesting. Yes,
And then they'll be
unrealistic.
like, "Now I'm like totally behind. I just can't even think about it. I'm going to not do anything tomorrow," right? And then they're more behind. And so I think that setting up a realistic schedule that obviously there's some willpower involved in all of this, but I think that helping people make something that actually fits into their life that is realistic for them does wonders. And it may not be the traditional way that many people are going about their schedule or their learning.
It's so interesting because everything for me has to do with motivation. Like,
Yeah.
there is no, like, "Oh, I just created, like, a really good plan that it's easy to stick to, and I don't have to think about it." I think the only thing that is like that in my life is my hygiene.
Yeah, but why is hygiene, like, easy for you? Why do you feel like that takes willpower?
No, because I love being clean, and
Right.
it's so important to
Right.
me. It's like, even though I'm like, I don't love brushing my teeth, the idea of not brushing my teeth doesn't even enter my mind.
So that's, I think, what I mean, where it's like you have to set up a system that's gonna get at the things that are, like, driving you and important to you. You know what I mean?
I guess,
Okay, I'm gonna
yeah.
just take a step back because I feel like I'm, like, mansplaining ADHD.
No, 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 no. It is just interesting to, like, learn about how
Yeah,
your brain works because
yeah,
then it makes me reflect on, like, how my brain works, for
yeah,
sure. I mean, I feel like through college, it was kind of the same, like, I definitely think it was, like, harder, like, college was just harder than high school. I
yeah.
could get away with in high school just, like, studying the night before, and I'd get, like, a great grade on my AP Bio stuff,
Right, right.
and I genuinely loved AP Bio, but that's a different thing. But, like, in general, I could put in not a lot of work or just use the system of procrastinating and still getting a good grade, and it would be fine. In college, not so much. That was definitely a transition. I felt like a lot of people would say that, like, "Oh, college is easier than high school." I did not feel that way. I felt like, I mean, with organic chemistry, like biochemistry, all these classes that I was taking felt very challenging, taking them all at once. It was very hard to, like, find a groove. I would often, like, be very productive for, like, a couple of weeks, and then, like, it would be like all or nothing mentality for sure.
Yeah,
And then it's very difficult and very different to cram for like a college class versus in high school, like one unit of bio when you only have one test like that whole week. Like,
totally,
very
totally.
different. So it was overwhelming in that sense. But for the most part, I felt like I was able to do it. Like, I don't know. I feel like organic chemistry was definitely the most challenging thing,
Yeah.
but the one thing I do feel like, to a fault, I have perseverance, like,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
a fault, to the point where I'm like, I can't take a hint. It's
Yeah,
like,
now
girl,
you're gonna
maybe
be
that
some doctors.
I know. I'm like
Yeah.
sick of I remember, so newsflash, like I got a C plus in organic chemistry or go one. That was terrifying. Granted, that was the average grade.
Yeah.
The
It's a hard
the
pass.
curve was set to a C plus.
Yeah.
So I did get the average, but you're not supposed to, like, you're not supposed to get a C plus and then stay on the track. It's called, like, a weed out class for a reason. You're supposed to, if you don't get a B or higher, take that as your sign
To
to
not
not go
do
into medicine.
wow.
And I was like, "This sucks because now I'm gonna have to do, like, super well next semester in order to, like, outshine." Like, I never thought to myself, like, "Oh, maybe it's not for," like, I felt like I was just used to, like, kind of having, I know I just said, like, "Oh, in high school I was able to compensate," but I was used to, like, feeling a little bit inadequate, like, "Oh my god, I procrastinated, this has made it harder for me," like, I was kinda used to
Yeah.
those moments of, like, "Oh, shoot, I've gotten myself into this position. How am I gonna get myself out of it now?"
Well, that's actually so interesting because obviously, sucks the ADHD might have made it harder for you to do well in that initial orgo class, but it had set you up to be kind of gritty like throughout your
So
life.
gritty. I went into the next semester, like, girl, I don't it actually is, like, so scary thinking about it, like, I know it doesn't sound like that crazy, but I was, like, signing up for part 2 of this class that almost just took me out. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
horror. It was hell out that, like, oh my gosh. It was so the drama, like, so dramatic.
I
Um,
remember that being a really
tears.
intense time. Yeah.
Um, and I got a B plus the next time, which was a well above the average of the class.
Yeah.
And I was already behind, like, not having kind of caught up to the level of where everyone else was. Like, these were people who had gone through Orgo 1, done well enough to say, I want to continue on this trajectory. Let me take
Yep.
Orgo 2. I was now competing with like people, a smaller group of people.
Y
That is like truly one of my proudest like moments. The fact that I came back and just like worked harder and yeah, and I did it.
What helped you that second time? Like, did you think strategically about different strategies to use?
Truly, I think the thing that helped me the most was like working more with other people, which is kind of
Mm.
crazy because I do think as someone with ADHD, it is very easy for me to get distracted in group settings. So I had kind of avoided it. Like I'm a yapper. I'm going to be like, I'm not accountable in a group setting. Like it's just not good. But I had been procrastinating so much that like it wasn't worth it. Like all the work that I could do by myself could not make up for not steadily working over the course of a semester. And I think by studying with other people, it kept me accountable. By studying with other people, I mean one other person who was like shout out to Hannah. She's gonna be a pediatrician. Finding someone who was so non-judgmental of me when I came in and I was like, I didn't go to class last week. Like I don't know what happened last week and I procrastinated. And having someone that I didn't feel like was judging me would honestly like angel goddess like went above and beyond to be like, let me like catch you like she would help me with what I was confused on, kind
Wow.
of help me get through that roadblock so it didn't like pile on more. So I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so behind. The initiation anxiety was so much like the fact that she was like, let's study together
Yeah.
and let's work through this together. And honestly, studying with her for that semester, I do feel like changed everything because I was able to
Oh.
keep on top of things more. Like not perfectly, but it kind of got me through my embarrassment and my shame about, like, being behind sometimes. Like, if I
Yeah.
could get through that easier, of course, I would still get behind, like but if I could work through that easier
Yeah.
and just start studying again, it was worth it even if we got a little distracted, like, and yapped a little bit.
Right, right. That's interesting. And so you found, yeah, you found a system that in that setting
Yeah,
helped you. I'm sure there was still a lot of like willpower involved in that studying, but
yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah, and you're not always gonna have a Hana.
yeah.
I think, like, in med school, it's interesting because I hadn't really thought about it, but it was very similar with Sierra. Like my
Mm,
friend.
yeah, yeah,
I think she was more like me though, not to out you girl, but the fact that we were similarly like just felt no shame. For the first 2 years of med school, we were like together all the in the class, everything. And the fact that like we could go to the library and be like, we both are incredibly behind.
yeah,
But
yeah.
be like, "We are getting up tomorrow at 7 a.m. and starting." Like, it would end up being, like, 10 because we both, like, be so disorganized and, like, "Oh my god, we overslept," like but
Yeah,
we would get our asses to the library and just start studying, like, just getting out of your hole of, like, shame and have feeling anxiety of things piling on top of each other and just starting with someone that doesn't judge you was, like, so important throughout med school, like, especially
yeah.
those first 2 years where it's all studying and all self-driven.
I feel like what I'm hearing too a lot of, which I think totally rings true with the patients that I've seen, is this shame
Mhm.
about the like lack of a system or that I procrastinated. I didn't start when I wanted to start this thing, didn't get as many things done as I wanted to get done. That can be a real barrier to like actually continuing making up
Oh,
for it.
100%. I remember, like, one specific time I did get a little behind in med school, a little behind. There's many times, but one time I'm thinking of and I'm literally crying doing my flashcards because I was so there's many times also in med school that I was crying. This like again, not groundbreaking that I was crying in med school, but just like the stress and anxiety I felt in that moment and like shame for being so behind and having so many flashcards to do and like why didn't I already do this? Like the self-talk as I'm like crying doing my flash I'm doing this because I would press the space bar to go to the next flashcard like, literally, Lucas, my fiancé, is, like, watching me being like, It's okay, just keep going. Because in my head, I'm thinking, you're so stupid, you're so behind. Now, like, why didn't you just start this? Because now you're like gonna finish this, but you still have so much more work to do that it makes you like not want to do any work. Because like the negative self-talk
Yeah.
literally is so anxiety producing and makes it so hard to start. Obviously just builds up, like, okay, I have 500 flashcards I haven't done. Okay, I have 1,000 flashcards I haven't done. Why didn't I start yesterday when there's only 500? But that also was so scary back when it was 500.
Totally. Right, right. It's this real catch-22 where you're like, "Ugh, like, this is too overwhelming to even start. I'm not gonna do it right now." And then the next day you realize there's even more to do. It would have been nice to have at least chipped away at some of it, but that it's kind of this vicious cycle that, like, can keep on going, I think.
Yeah. I think some of the things that having it's hard to, like, separate what is ADHD, like, the disorder, like, that makes things harder for me and what is just, like, my personality,
Mm.
and I think honestly, a lot of those things, like, are just it's hard to, like you're never gonna tease it out because both like, everything affects, like, who you are.
Yeah,
But, I feel that have, like, a bit of impulsiveness and, like, spunk that sometimes allows me to do really cool, fun things. Like,
yeah,
during my orgo, my, like, organic chemistry one, I remember although I was doing really bad, I procrastinated a couple times, and I ended up writing this short story that, like, ended up being published.
yeah.
If I had better executive functioning, that wouldn't have happened
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I wouldn't procrastinate. I wouldn't have been like, "Oh, I have a perfectly good opportunity to study, but I have this idea for a story. Let me, like, write it out."
100%.
But I feel like there's definitely times like that, like, to a smaller degree, like, times of, like, crocheted a baby blanket for my friend who
Yeah,
just had a baby.
yeah.
Like, I'm able to, like, get fun projects done while I'm stressed, and people were like, "How do you have time for that?" I'm like, "I don't. I actually don't have time for that, but
Yeah.
don't I'm, like, able to do things still because I don't get so pressed about sticking to a schedule and sticking to a plan."
Yeah, yeah. Whereas I mean, I think about that. I think you are way better than me at taking those leaps, doing
Yeah.
those creative side project things. I think I had a little bit more of that in my like teen years just
Yeah, we were
cuz
talking about this.
I feel like just in terms of like brain development in general, teenagers can be a bit more impulsive and can be a bit more
Mhm.
creative and a bit more angsty. So I think I had more of that in my teen years, but especially as I've felt that brain developing and now I'm like fully an adult, I'm like, I think I've lost that
I know.
ability. And you
It
really
seems
haven't fully.
not fully. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, I do feel that, like, I've continued to grow and develop, and I think everyone has more executive functioning than they did as a teenager.
Right, right.
And I was definitely, I think, more creative and more, like, spunky and whatever when I was, like,
Yeah.
younger,
Yeah.
but I do feel that I have way more of that, like, little zest than some other people around me. Not that they're not accomplishing, like, amazing things. Some people accomplish amazing things because they're so executive functioning
Yes.
queens that they actually, like, plan in when to write their amazing short story,
Yeah.
and they get it done, and they're getting an A in Orgo. That was never gonna be me. Like, for example, like, planning my wedding, I feel like every episode I've been like, "Everyone says that it's supposed to be stressful, and I am just better than everyone." And for many reasons, I think we've already touched on, like, finances aren't stressful for me because my parents are contributing, like, to
Yeah.
the cost, like, all of these reasons. But part of it is that I'm so good at procrastinating. Like, I'm
Yeah.
okay with not getting some of my med school stuff done because I'm looking at flowers. I don't have to fit it into med school, I'm fitting med school into my life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that totally makes sense that it's like what we were saying with like the grittiness earlier. Many people are allergic to the feeling of like not doing as well as they wanted to do in something. And when
I'm
they
so
experience that,
used to that,
they're like, I'm
yeah.
going to quit. right? Similarly, many people are like, "Ooh, like I could never not get that first thing on my list done before like task A before I go to task B," right? And so, how would I fit in planning a wedding when I really have to do all my med school stuff? But you are
Mhm.
so comfortable, like just like you're very comfortable being like, "You know what? Didn't make the mark this time, but like that's okay. I'm going to try again."
Yeah.
You are super comfortable being like, "Okay, like this needs to be on the back burner." Like you're comfortable having like things on multiple burners at once.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like another example of this is just, like, literally being in my surgery rotation, planning your bachelorette party at the same time,
Yes. Yes.
writing my speech for maid of honor, like, all of this on, like, the most stressful rotation,
So
and
Allie, yeah.
doing fine on the exam at the end of surgery. Like, it's just, like, I didn't get
Yeah.
a perfect score on the exam, but, like, all of the things got done.
Yeah. So to back up, Allie was my maid of honor and my wedding was happening during slash right after her surgery rotation, which was your first clinical rotation. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think the most intense
Yeah,
of
oh
all
no,
of
for
them.
sure. It was the longest hours. I was also driving 40 minutes to
What
get
were your
there.
hours usually?
I would wake up at like 4:30
Wow.
to get there like 5:30, I think I would get there 5:45. I would usually leave at like 6, 6:30, get home like 7:30.
And then you had to study.
And then I just study and plan your bachelorette party. I'm like, feel like there was a lot going on. I can't remember
Write
any
my
of the other
speech,
things.
like,
Right, the
you had to be, like, getting
speech.
your, like, bridesmaid dress tailored somewhere in there,
Yes.
like, things like that, yeah,
No, 100%.
yeah,
It just got done.
yeah,
And at the end, I remember I hadn't gotten as many questions as I wanted to get done, and so I got to that, like, day before the exam, very used to the feeling of, like, "I'm behind, but I'm gonna do this."
yeah,
Again, I think we just talked about, like, the shame of building up of, like, it can be hard to initiate that, but I have become, like, more comfortable with just kind of, like, pushing through
yeah.
in not ideal situations.
It sounds like for you, having those multiple friends who were there to non-judgmentally support you in different phases of your education, like, it sounds like actually helped you kinda get used to that feeling.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, because I have become better at it, for sure. Um, and even just, like, throughout med school, I've
Yeah,
like, with self-awareness, you're able to, like, carry plan better
yeah,
because I know I can get this many questions done in a day. There's other people that can get more questions done in a day for studying for, like, our big exams, but, like, I know that if I do more than these questions, I'm gonna get burnt out,
yeah.
and then I'm not gonna do any of them, and then I'm gonna be really behind what the schedule was that I planned out, and then I'm gonna feel stressed, and I'm not like and
Though
then I'm
that's
gonna
what
be
I
like all
mean
these
with
things.
the, like, you gotta make a schedule that works for
So at the
you.
end of the day, I'm gonna get fewer questions done and have studied less than other people, but I'm gonna be able to actually, like, carry it out. So, like, yeah, just learning about yourself. And the other thing I truly felt that I've just, like, really trust myself to land on my feet because I feel that I have both in med school, you're, like, thrown into so many situations that it's, like, your first day every day, or, like, it's your first day, like, every 6 weeks or fewer than that because you're rotating your 3rd year on all these new teams, like, you're starting new units all the time, you're in new hospitals. I've gotten very used to it, but also I feel like there's been a lot of times that I have failed because of my ADHD and I've somehow gotten through it. And so I feel like, okay, like wherever I
Yeah.
end up, I'm gonna make it work.
I feel like, um, that also is probably a testament like, you were kinda touching on earlier, this idea that you could have seen multiple paths of how your life went, and I do think there's people who have ADHD or other, like, executive functioning challenges who have early experiences of not landing on their feet, and that becomes their cycle where they're like, "The minute I can't do something, or the minute I approach something that feels like I can't do, not even going near that because
Interesting.
I'm curious."
I don't know if I've honestly ever felt that way because I expect often when I'm doing things it's because I want to do them, if that makes sense, like, I
Mm,
guess, like, outside of school. Like, for example, learning how to crochet. I've taught myself, I watch YouTube videos, and I really wanted to learn, and I did it, and I've learned all my patterns, and I did it by
yeah,
myself, and, oh, I was, like, totally procrastinating while I was doing this. But because I wasn't so good when I started, but because I wanted to do it so bad, I just, like, did it. I
yeah,
just, like, spent the whole day learning how to crochet. But then I've
yeah.
had other people, like, even our cousin was telling us, like, "I just can't crochet." Like, I'm like, "No, you can, like, everyone can learn."
Right,
Like,
right.
I feel like a lot of times my, like, impulsiveness makes me, like, then, like, hyper focus on something,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, I'm just like, "I want to do this, so I will do this."
No, that makes a ton of sense.
But I guess in the other sense of, like, not being good at something, I mean, there's definitely things that, like, I'm not good at, like organic chemistry,
Yeah.
but I'm just like,
What helped you
"Gotta do
know? Like,
it."
I know we talked about, like, the friends who would, like, non-judgmentally support you, but, like, is there anything else you can think of that kind of helped you know or helped you at even in early parts of your life, like, realize to push past that feeling to, like, show yourself you could try again, do it a different way? I don't know.
It's interesting. I'm actually thinking about this. Part of it is I feel like I was driven by a fear of, like, being embarrassed by not doing well, so, like, if
Mm.
I wasn't doing well, I was like, "But we're gonna get there." Because
Yeah,
I don't want other people to see me fail.
that's so
So I
interesting.
was like, "Oh, if I'm not getting math,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be good at math." Like,
Yeah.
the other thing I would say that, like, motivates me truly, I was telling our brother's girlfriend, who's, like, my bestie, she was, like, so impressed with my ability to focus when I was studying for my step 1 exam. It's, like, a big exam in medical school, and I had to study, like, 6 weeks straight, like, really studying every day. And I remember she was, like, going to the beach, and she was like, "You wanna come?" And I was like, "No, I have to study." She was so impressed with my ability to stay focused. She's like, "How are you doing it?" And I was like, "Fear." Like, some people study and are able to study because they want to do well.
Yeah.
I am doing this because I'm scared. I know if I don't do this, then it's gonna pile up and I'm gonna be like, I don't know, different motivations. It's either I really wanna do it, and so I'm able to, like, push past that failure,
Yeah.
or I'm so scared of failure that I can, like, whip myself into shape for
Yeah.
just a little short spurt, like a couple weeks.
Well, I think that gets at I mean, for anyone who's seen, like, the movie Inside Out, this is gonna not be shocking, but I do think some of these emotions get a bad rap, like fear or anxiety. Obviously, in high doses, those things can really impact our lives in negative ways. But at their core, emotions like fear or emotions like anxiety just help us to plan for the future or
Yeah,
navigate around things like avoid things we really don't want to happen.
and sometimes I feel like I have to more consciously tap into that than other
Mm,
people do.
that's interesting.
Like, I have to like, my cholesterol is high, and I need to, like, work on that. It needs to happen, or I need to go on medication for that to happen, and part of that is, like, working out. I hate working out. Working out is great for many reasons. I don't enjoy it, but I will sometimes not wanna work out, and I'm at the gym, like, about to go for a swim or about to step on the elliptical or treadmill or whatever, and I have to say to myself, "Allie, do you want to have a stroke? Is that part of your plan, for your life? Is that something" "No." "Then get on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Get you have to do it." Like, just truly, like, reminding yourself, like, I feel like other people are just able to be like, "Exercise is good." It's part of my goal to lower my cholesterol, and then they'll fit it into their plan. I have to, like, very consciously be like, "Remember what your enemy is."
Yeah, that's interesting. And this could maybe be an episode for another time. As an anxiety girly, like for me, a lot of my mental health journey has been around anxiety. And I do think that it's been high, like, too high at times in my life. I feel like I never have to consciously tap into that. It's too much there.
I can be way too blasé about my life.
Yeah.
"What?
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
get done." I'm like, "No." Fear.
Yeah.
Fear, Allie.
Which again goes to like these things have a purpose. At their
Yes.
core, it's like you don't have to pretend you don't worry about things or don't care about something, right? It can be really tough to have a lot of anxiety, but it's actually also not good if you just never plan for the future or you never think about
Mhm.
things that might harm you, right?
No,
Yeah.
100%. It's interesting because I do feel like what I will call my lack of willpower or executive functioning was probably, like, protective in some ways. Like, I feel like
Mm,
even, like, any negative body image I had growing up, like, I did not
that's
I
interesting.
did not have the ability to, like, change my diet. So
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
even
yeah.
now with, like, a very concrete, healthy goal of trying to, like, just lower my cholesterol,
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
So you're saying you feel like you didn't develop,
An
like, an
eating
eating disorder.
disorder,
That's
because no
interesting.
matter how many negative thoughts I had, the ability to take that into action, and I'm not
Yeah,
saying that eating disorders are as simple as that, like, you can definitely have ADHD and have an eating disorder,
sure.
but I feel like with people that I encounter who have eating disorders, they're often these sometimes are fit the stereotype of, like, a perfectionist, like, in many
Mm,
aspects of their
yeah.
life, they are, like, hitting
Especially
these
ones who
goals.
especially eating disorders that because there's lots of different types of eating
Yes,
disorders
even
too.
so,
You're thinking probably about, like,
I'm thinking
restrictive. Yeah,
specifically about restrictive. There's many types of eating
yeah,
disorders that don't you don't need, like, willpower. Like, that's what I'm not what I'm saying that you can't do that. I think specifically,
yeah.
I am not able I'm eating that marshmallow.
Right, right. No,
Like,
totally.
I'm eating the marshmallow, I'm not waiting for the second one. There's so many things in my life I don't have the willpower to, like, be self-destructive about.
Yeah. Well, this was actually when I first was going to graduate school and I wrote a grant that did not end up getting funded. So I didn't get money to do the project.
Yeah.
But it was all based in this idea that one of my first clinical experiences was working with kids with ADHD. And basically, like, because especially kids with ADHD respond to rewards a lot, it kind of like flips the rewards so that they're getting rewarded for things that help them, like, you know, do things that are going to be in their favor, like behave well in a group setting or do their schoolwork and stuff like that. And a lot of the talk around that was around we need to like increase their self control. We need to increase their self control. While I did feel like the treatment was very helpful, I took issue with this idea that we were just like talking about self-control as this thing that was like universally good, like any dose of
Yeah.
it was going to be awesome. And I'm sitting here as a high self-control, high executive functioning. I am a perfectionist, anxiety driven girly who has a schedule and gets stressed if that schedule
And
isn't
it bites you in the butt
bites me
sometimes.
in the butt. And I, went to an elite undergraduate like institution where I saw lots of other people like me who experienced detrimental effects of having this quote unquote high levels of self-control. And then after college, I worked for 2 years doing research on eating disorders. And so much of what we would talk about there was that fact that there's this kind of perfect storm that can happen when people are having body image problems, especially for we studied more restrictive eating disorders where people are restricting their calorie intake or food intake. And it could be people with body image problems who have this like amazing executive functioning
Mhm.
are
They're
able to like
keeping the
plan
calories in
and
their head.
execute and to their ultimate detriment where they're really suffering mentally and physically. And I couldn't square these two worlds. I was like, okay, so there's these kids with ADHD who are saying need just high doses of self-control, like they just need so much and there's never too much. And then I'm with these people with eating disorders who are really suffering because of all these things. And I wanted to do a research study where I could kind of understand the bell curve of these things and how maybe at both extremes there's I didn't end up getting to do that research, but it's something that I think about a lot that people with ADHD, yeah, they may want to increase some of that executive functioning, but it's not like all good or all bad.
No, 100%.
Sorry. Okay. I'm going to get off my soapbox again.
No, 100%. I think that I am glad in some ways. Sometimes it does bite me in the butt too. Like, I feel like I say things, especially around people that I'm very comfortable with, where I'm like,
Yeah.
"Why did I just say that?" Like, I sometimes do not think enough.
But you know what, though? I actually think another strength of yours is that you can get close to people and develop a rapport with people a lot faster than I think I can.
Really.
Yes, because I think you just kind of like sometimes I am like so like focused on everything I'm going to be
Mhm.
saying and how it's going to be perceived. And if something interesting pops into your head or funny or like
I just
bold,
say
you
it.
just say it.
Yeah. It's kind of like take it or leave it. Okay, this is something that comes to my mind. So, like, you and Jacob, her husband,
Yeah.
were talking about putting in the air conditioning unit,
Yes.
and they're, like, freaking out. It's, like, 1 unit, and they're freaking out about what if it drops on like, they're on the 5th story, and then it's gonna kill someone. Do we need to hire someone to do it?
We were worried that about the installation
And
and if
about
it's
the
a proper
installation.
installation.
I am hot. Right now, I'm dropping everything. I don't care if I'm behind and stuff. It needs to get done. I'm putting in all 3 levels of our air conditioning by myself, and I just, like, casually told you guys, you were like, "You just put them in, like, right now?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I was hot. Like, I'm
Yeah.
doing it. I know how to do it. They're not gonna fall. Like, they could fall,
Yeah.
but I'm not preoccupied with the what ifs because I know I installed it, like, how you're supposed to do it, like, and
Yes.
I'm hot, and I'm eating that marshmallow right now.
But then you just get this stuff done and you're not wasting time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in your thing, like, you wouldn't have taken 30 minutes away from what you're supposed to be doing.
Probably not.
Yeah, even if you were hot, you'd be like, "Let's add that to the to-do list."
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm uncomfortable, like, it is getting solved. If, like, I get a
Yeah.
package delivered and I'm supposed to be doing something else, but I wanna put, like, this shelf together, it's getting done right then.
Yeah.
But
That's
then
saying.
for you, it might be like, "Oh my god, we need to put the shelf together. It's been 2 weeks and we haven't found the time."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I think my overwhelmed feeling is more just like my to-do list is way too long and my highly
I don't
structured
have a
schedule
to-do
is
list. I have, what am I doing right now?
yeah. And I actually think I we've talked about this. I think that's really freeing in a lot of
I
ways.
know, I was okay, another thing. I was walking with my fiancé, and the power had been out in our apartment, and in my brain, I'm thinking, "I hope the power's back on," as
Yeah.
we're walking back to our apartment, and on the way there, Lucas is thinking through every possibility. Okay, if it's not on, that street light's usually on. That probably means that our house still doesn't have power. Okay, that means that I have to take everything out of the fridge, take everything out of the freezer. I'll probably have to go get ice. Is this place open? I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go to this other place. That means I have to get gas. Like, he is like 10 million steps ahead. I'm like, we don't even know if it's on or off. We could get there and our power's on, and that
Yeah.
was just a waste of mental energy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really think about the what ifs. I have anxiety, but I'm like, what is my anxiety? I don't even know. I just get stressed about random things. Like if I'm like doing a presentation right in that
Yeah.
moment. Like I don't have a lot of like future anxiety.
Yeah. No, I think
I'm in the moment.
you're not worrying in advance.
I really don't worry in advance. Like I worry when I'm there. Like I feel like what would have happened is if the power is out and I'm like, oh man, now we gotta figure this out.
But that's normal. I think most people would react to that.
Yeah, but I'm not anticipating
Yeah.
the worry. I am just like, I'm just thinking other thoughts. I always say to Missy, I'm like, I don't even think I have thoughts.
You do have thoughts.
I'm
I
just
hate to
vibing.
I hate to
Like,
break it to you. No, but I think
I don't know what I'm gonna say next. Like,
yeah.
I'm just in the moment. I really don't think about every consequence of everything.
What are other ways that type B is nice?
I think it allows the type A people to like execute their plan.
That's interesting.
Like, if I feel like it works with us when you're like, "What time?" And I'm like, "Anytime today.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow." Like, and it's like, "Okay, it works between the hours of 11 and blah, blah, blah." Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it allows me to be more flexible for other people. Like, because often
Mm.
other people have their idea of what they want to do.
Yeah.
But I do think I get frustrated because let's say Missy's like, "Do you want to go to the beach tomorrow?" Oh, I already had plans to, like, go with Lucas to do something, but going to the beach sounds so fun, like, I wanna do that so bad, so I'm like, "Oh my god, yes, let me just try with Lucas," and Lucas is like, having to think through, okay, if we don't go to we plan to go to the grocery store and see this thing. Now we're going to have to move that. When can we next go to the grocery store together? Because we have to have the car to do, like, I'm like, the beach sounds fun. Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
other people have to think through the
But then you
consequences.
just get to like half the time, I think,
I'm like, I know it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
we'll make it work. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I feel like this comes back to that you actually, because maybe you have ADHD, you have become more comfortable with things feeling like they're awry and just being like, we'll figure it out. And I want to do this fun thing. And not that you can always just like do the fun thing right away, but in many cases, it's fine to just rearrange your
It really
schedule.
is fine.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I have learned throughout the years is that it's okay to like not sacrifice everything. What I mean by that is, okay, let's say I haven't studied a lot this week and we had planned to go apple picking. I'm like, man, I really did not do enough work. I'm so behind. I don't think I should go apple picking. And then I don't go apple picking. Guess what? I'm so anxious, I'm not even getting a lot of work done anyway. So now, not only did I not go apple picking,
That's interesting.
I'm still behind.
Yeah.
I think about, like, it is, unless it's like the night before the exam or like, I mean, there's a difference between you're like, oh my God, I really have to study. Like, there are those times where you probably didn't even make plans for the week of your exam anyway,
Yeah.
but it's okay to just, it's okay that you're not like totally on top of it. Usually, like one day or one fun thing with your friends, like they don't deserve it more just because they're quote unquote like more on top of it. Like, it's not that they like get to do it because they're better people, more morally okay because they've gone through all their flashcards and all their practice problems. You can still, you still deserve to have fun. Your whole life doesn't have to be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You don't have to push away all the fun because you think you don't deserve it because you haven't gotten enough work done.
I feel like that goes back to the shame thing you were talking about
Yeah,
earlier.
100%. That like you don't deserve to have fun because you are so behind and then you feel anxious about being behind and then you don't even like do the work. I don't know. It's like a cycle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's okay to just like not sacrifice everything. I
Yeah.
think like there's a couple times that I feel like I did sacrifice and I didn't get a lot done anyway. And I'm like, man, I wish I had the memory of like riding my bike along the trail with my friend that invited me to do that and I said no. Like,
Yeah.
you have to live your life. It's okay that you didn't like, you weren't perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I just lost my train of thought with this question.
I don't know. I do feel like that's how we like raise our kids though, where it's like you can't go to Sarah's birthday party if you don't do all
Mm,
your homework.
that's interesting.
It's like a punishment for like not having getting that
Yeah.
instead of being like, let's find a way to make sure that you can do all your homework. Like, or like, how are we gonna make it work that you can go to Sarah's birthday party?
Do you what? Yeah, that's interesting because I could see why parents would take that approach of being like, you don't get to do the fun thing unless you do the more difficult thing. Maybe the argument is that that helps kids find the motivation
I
to
think
do
it's
those things. I'm
different
curious.
if your kid is like willfully not doing their work because I really don't know, like
Yeah.
whatever reason, like they're not listening,
They
like
don't have a focusing issue. It's more
it's not
just
a
that
focusing
they don't
issue.
want to.
They chose not to do it for whatever reason. Like that is one discussion. But if you're truly having difficulty focusing, like often that's like suffering in itself because you have like
Mm,
a lot, you're like trying to do it, you can't focus, you feel bad about yourself, like your parents are like you're already ashamed about it, maybe you didn't get the grade you wanted, and then you get to the weekend you can't even go to the birthday party. And you're just like, wow, life sucks.
how do you think parents can identify like which kid they have? If they have the kid who's willfully not doing it, or if they have the kid who maybe they have some executive functioning thing going on or an ADHD thing going on.
It's interesting because I think that sometimes parents can see themselves in their kids and they
Mm,
don't want them to like make the same mistakes. Like they know themselves that like maybe they struggle with procrastinating and they're like, "I don't want that for my kid."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're trying to, like, not not physically beat it out, but, like, they're trying to, like, set up some reward system
Sure.
where that doesn't happen instead of, like, creating a structure where it's better. I don't know the answer. I'm like, "Just figure it out," but I think a lot of people think that their kid is just not doing it because they don't want to.
Right. So it might be hard to tell.
It might be hard to tell, but I would start with the fact that kids in general don't have great executive functioning. So
Yeah.
even kids that don't have perfect executive functioning or like who don't have ADHD might need support. But like
Mm.
I would lean into finding systems that work for your kid so that they can do the things that they want to do.
What do you think those systems could look like?
I think those systems could be maybe being more involved with like what the actual assignments are that you have to get done. I think that mom and dad were very hands off with both of us, and for you, I
For
think
me,
it
that
was, like,
worked great.
great. For me, it meant that I would miss an assignment, feel really ashamed, didn't wanna talk about it,
Yeah.
and then no one knew, and then I'd just, like, get a bad grade and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But, like, if someone knew, even if they weren't on top of it, like, just having someone to, like, check in, like, would have been
Interesting.
helpful.
Yeah.
But not, like, yell at me if I didn't get it done. Be like, "Oh, like, let's figure out a schedule that would work for you." Getting, like, a tutor and not thinking of a tutor as just like, "Oh, they're dumb," or, like, whatever,
Yeah,
like,
or they need to like they need someone to like help them learn the
learn it.
material.
Tutors can be really good for just truly having an hour of focus and structured time to do work with someone that's keeping you on task.
Even there's the financial barrier to that for many people to getting a tutor.
That's true.
But if it's accessible or even if there's a way, I mean, I think there's ways to build that accountability that don't necessarily mean having to get a tutor.
But even just, like, I think, like, sitting with your kid, like, you can be doing something else. But I find
Mm.
with ADHD, if someone is just, like, sitting next to me, it kinda gives me, like, more accountability. Just,
Yeah,
like, finding the environment that your kid is able to work the best in and, like, putting them more in that.
totally. 'Cause when I work with adults who have ADHD, so much of it is like really just learning the basics of what it means to make a schedule, make a plan that fits in their life, that works for them, that they can stick to. They have truly never learned, no one has taught them these skills. And
Mhm.
people with really more naturally strong executive functioning just like find those systems that work for them or they're systems that like many other people use. And so they kind of go by what other people are doing in school. But I imagine for kids with ADHD, like the barrier really might just be like a skill barrier that they just like don't
Yeah.
know how to create a structure, a schedule that works for them to like complete an assignment.
I actually remember did tutoring in college, and I remember, like, now I'm just thinking back, there was a girl who, like, was not doing well in her history
Oh, you
class.
were the tutor.
I was the
Yeah,
tutor,
yeah.
yeah, and we spent, like, 20 minutes of that tutoring session making her a little calendar
Yeah.
and putting what small tasks she was gonna do every day, like, it wasn't a lot, and her next test was so much better. It's not like we spent that time, like, really studying, so that's what improved her grade, just teaching her how to plan
Yeah.
and not be, like, something that I had learned to do of, like, not overwhelming yourself too much, like, scheduling in, like, maybe a buffer day if you don't, like, hit your goal, like, giving her that tool, like, truly helped her be better.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, a matter of, like, "You're not studying enough," like, yelling at her to, like, study more, punishing her. It was, like, truly just giving her the tools to, like,
Right.
help organize how she was gonna approach school.
Totally. I think with parenting, there's things where there's times when you just there's a motivation deficit with your kid and you need to build that maybe a reward is needed in that moment, right? To just help your kid have the motivation to get something done. But sometimes I think there is a skills gap and
Mhm.
parents tend to think mostly in terms of this like motivation gap, but I really think the skills gap is not as talked about with parenting to be like, okay, wait, a punishment or a reward is not going to like teach my kid how to make a schedule.
No, yeah, it's just gonna make them feel like shame.
Yeah,
Yeah, but, I mean, every kid is, like, different. You need to, like,
totally.
like,
Yeah.
we don't know your situation and whatever. I feel like we can only talk about, like, our experiences, but yeah.
I mean, I think just to that point, like for me as a kid, the fact that our parents were pretty hands off, like they had high expectations, but they were not going to micromanage our school. That worked amazingly for me because I do have strong executive functioning and it helped me like feel confident to use that tool on my own to be like, I can from a young age make my own schedule. I can, and
Mm.
that felt like empowering
No,
to
I
me.
was
And so that's where like two kids, even in the same family, need a very different approach.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, we shall see.
So, to any other med students who might be listening, or people in programs that are just really challenging, like med school or law school or something like that, what advice would you have for anyone doing something like that who has ADHD?
Um, my I would say the most practical advice I can give you is if you have been on a medication in the past that has worked for you, to find like a psychiatrist or primary care doctor to get back on that medication. I think
Mhm.
there's a good amount of people in med school with ADHD who will be like, I used to be on meds and I need to get back on meds and they're falling behind and they're really struggling, and just getting back on those meds before you start to help you succeed and have that support is like that's just like the most tangible advice I can give you. And if you think there's a lot of people that think they might have ADHD, like talk to someone about it. Like that would be my other like get help. Like
Yeah.
it's very hard to just like do it all by yourself and like pull yourself up by your bootstraps and like find systems for yourself and build all your confidence and grittiness and whatever. Like all those things are great, but like the reality is like the most important thing that has helped me is being on medication.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like the most high yield thing you can do. And then the next most high yield thing that I think I've done is just like be honest. If you are behind, like tell someone. I don't know why that just like tell like anyone, like your mom, whoever,
Your sister?
your sister, get it off your chest. For some reason, that has really helped me. Again,
Yeah.
just like taking away the shame, having someone like literally like say, keep going while you're like crying, doing your flashcards, just like help you get through that like initiation anxiety after you've procrastinated. I think those two things, like finding good support, both medication and someone who's like non judgmental of you, would be my two biggest things.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And get a
Well,
cat.
pets can help too. Okay. Well, thanks again for joining
Yeah.
us. Tell us your experiences too, because Allie shared her experience.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I mansplained ADHD to everyone through
Because
my
she's a man.
experience. Yeah. Well, as a therapist, I have my perception, but I recognize I don't have the lived
No, but
experience.
it is fascinating to be like, that's how your brain works. Like,
Yeah.
you're thinking things all the time.
Yeah. But we want to hear from you if you have ADHD and or you're in med school or a difficult academic program or any kind of academic program where you've really felt like pushed or you felt like you've had to find a new system, or if you're in the mental health field and you have more to add here, we
Yeah.
would
Because
love to
we're just
hear.
babies in the mental health
Yeah.
field. But yeah,
Okay.
we'd love to hear more.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Welcome to the Depressy podcast.
I'm Missy,
And I'm Allie
and we're sisters
in the mental health field.
talking about all things stressy. I know. I was like, we're
I was
not going
like,
to get this
what's
on the
the
first
next?
date.
Wait.
Okay. Okay.